OBJ, and you know what? He came out swinging yesterday with plenty of quotes that I want to discuss. So get this, guys. He told reporters yesterday that he is tired of trying to make himself out to look like a good guy and that he's going to be himself. He also defended some of his sideline antics by comparing himself to Tom Brady without mentioning him by name. OBJ said, quote, "There's people who have plenty of rings and are considered the GOAT, and they do things on the sideline, and other people do things on the sideline, and they get away with it." Shannon, does he have a point?
Yeah, there's a double standard, Odell, and I think you understand that. There's a double standard in all walks of life, and football is no different. The more accomplished you are, if you get a Super Bowl ring or two, you become an MVP, Skip. Sometimes people think you're beyond reproach. I'm probably the wrong guy to ask this question, Skip, because, you know, I'm kind of old school in my values. I believe that, you know, and I've shared this conversation with Odell, is that I believe the more invested you are in something, the more it hurts.
Yep.
When it's not going your way, or so all of a sudden, I mean, being in a relationship, you love someone and all of a sudden they don't want to be in that relationship with you, you're like, it hurts, as opposed to like, you don't really care willy-nilly. Well, Odell is so invested in them. His workouts and the time to his route running and him catching the ball, and then all of a sudden he's not winning or he's not getting opportunities, because most wide receivers, the really good ones, believe that if you give me the ball, Skip, it increases our chance of winning. Just like the other quarterbacks believe that if you put the ball in my hands, good things are going to happen. I was just never one of those guys, Skip, that I thought because I had accomplished this, Pro Bowls, Super Bowls, that yelling and screaming in someone's face was the right answer. That was just me. Now, some people believe that, you know, that's the way they do it. And Odell is absolutely right. Tom Brady yells and screams, that's passion. Odell or Dez would do it, or T.O. would do it, and that's being destructive. That's bringing the team apart. I think the biggest thing is what Odell has to understand. There have been times that he's done things on the sideline, Skip, that in no stretch of the imagination could you say, okay, that's trying to get the team fired up. That's bringing the team closer together to the common goal. And so when you do one, and then you say, well, I'm doing this to try to get the team fired up. But the people are like, well, you did that over there, and that's not getting the team fired up. And so he has to be careful that you can't say everything that I do is about, you know, hitting the football, kicking it with your helmet, Skip. That's not motivating your team. That's you being frustrated for whatever the reason or the case may be. He's never going to, just like he's never going to be able to live the catch down, Skip, he's never going to be able to live down what happened that Sunday afternoon against Carolina. People will always go back to that. Okay, Odell, you say you was trying to, how was that helping the team win the ball game? You behaving like that. So you have to be careful. And I told Odell that, Skip. It's not something that I'm saying on air that I haven't shared with Odell myself. And I said, I understand that how invested you are in this, and it seems like you're being selfish. But he said, man, I just want to win. I said, oh. Hell, everybody want to win, bro. But you just have to be careful how you try to relay that message. Because as we're talking, everybody is not going to view you in the same light if they view Tom when he does that as opposed to you. Because even when Tom got into it with Josh McDaniels, even when he got into it with Bill O'Brien, people said that was the passion. Huh? Let T.O. got into it. T.O. was never passionate when he got into it with his coaches. Dez was never passionate when he got into it with his coaches. He's being destructive. He's been a malcontent. Tom Brady did the exact same thing. Two exact same scenarios, viewed two totally different ways. So, Odell, all I'm saying is this. I understand that you're like, I wanted to stay on the field. Hey, they beat us. They got us to this point. Let me go ahead and take this butt cutting like a man. But be smart. We've all been in a situation where we're getting blown out and the coach takes us out of the game and it gives us an opportunity. It gave me an opportunity to reflect. Damn sure don't want to come out next week. Let me make sure, get these guys ready to play so this doesn't happen again. But Odell is absolutely right, Skip. There is a double standard in how we view certain players when their behavior is similar to what Odell displayed.
Okay. I have a whole lot to say about this topic. And I'm going to start with your general premise, upon which I agree. If we are talking in general, and I'm just going to lay this right out on the table here. If we're talking in general about a majority of white fans tend to condemn the antics or outbursts of black stars on the sideline as selfish versus the antics or outbursts of white quarterbacks on the sideline as passion, giving them a pass. You got me. You are right. I am with you on this. In general, I am not with this one. I am not with Odell calling out Tom Brady, because they are the flip sides of each other. And I like Odell personally. I think his heart is in the right place, but he just can't see past the end of his own nose, because I think all of his antics on the sideline, all of his outbursts on the sideline are about him, not them, as in team. I believe everything you've seen from Tom Brady on the sideline is strictly about winning. Odell is about starring. It's all about, if he's getting his, he's a happy camper. It doesn't really matter to him the bottom line of W's and L's like it did to you when you played. You were happy, certainly in Baltimore, if you were big play Shay, as in one catch a game. That was the catch. You were extremely content as long as the final score on the scoreboard said, you guys won again. And I think Odell has no perspective on that. And the reason this is offensive to me is I look back at Odell's career so far, and this isn't completely his fault, but I'm going to remind everybody, in his career, he has played in one playoff game. And what happened before that one playoff game? They played their final regular season game, the Giants did, at Washington. And then they had
won that game also.
They did. And they had to then get ready for a playoff game, his first and only, up on the frozen tundra in January of Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. And to prepare for a game on the frozen tundra, Odell led a group of his wide receivers on the Giants to Miami for their day off, and they hung out on a yacht, and he at least co-signed on posting a picture on social media of him and others on the yacht. It seems like they didn't have their shirts on. It's hot in Miami, right? Not sure that's how you get ready for a game on the frozen tundra, and apparently Odell wasn't ready for it, because the first series of that game, it got to 3rd and 5 at the Green Bay 35-yard line. And the first throw to him, I think we have it, he just dropped it.
He did.
Because I think he put himself in harm's way with the media, because they were all over him. This is the second one. That was the touchdown on the second
third.
series.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, the play you're talking about, he dropped the third down.
It was a third down pass. It was 3rd and 5. That play was 1st and 10 at the Green Bay 28. And you got to make that catch.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you just got to make it. He's as good as there is. He's got the best pair of hands in pro football. Okay, so he had 2 drops on the first 2 series with the game still 0-0, and you know the final score. It was Aaron Rodgers and company 38-13 over Eli and Odell. Okay, so now he's calling out the greatest quarterback ever, who is 30-11 in the postseason, whose regular season record is 223-66. That's pretty great. And obviously, we saw 2 games back at Chicago, we saw Tom Brady lose it on the sideline and go after several of his offensive linemen, especially his center, Ryan Jensen. Can I detail what had just happened on the field for those who might have lost touch with this? Okay, so this is at Chicago. They are holding on to a 16-14 lead in the middle of the 3rd quarter. And in this drive, they wind up with 3 offensive holding penalties. This is all on one drive. One offensive pass interference on Mike Evans for pushing off, and 1 unnecessary roughness penalty after he had completed an 11-yard pass on Ryan Jensen, his center, post-play. He headbutts one of the Chicago Bears. And they get 15 for that one. And they wind up with 4th and 27. And in that series, on one play, there were offsetting penalties because Khalil Mack was virtually unblocked. And you remember what he did to Tom Brady? He just ragdolled him. He just body slammed him. Yeah, he flung him down. Again, this was offsetting penalties because Donovan Smith, his left tackle, was called for